Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing another video, and it's kind of an interesting thing I just thought of because I was listening to Wasp's first album, the song "The Torture Never Stops." And I probably told this story before, but I figured I'd tell it a second time just for new viewers or whatever. And this is just about, because it's going to take about 20 minutes for me to get my beer that I get every month, my 6-pack. I drink a 6-pack a month. I know it's crazy, but that's all I drink. There's a certain beer I really like. You've probably seen it in some videos if you watch a lot. So this is about 9/11. 9/11. The Yankees went to heaven. Sorry, that's terrible. So anyways, this is a story about 9/11, what happened that day to me, and all the weird stuff that was involved with that. So I'm just going to tell the whole story. So I was working at a call center, and we did like customer service and tech support. I didn't do the tech support, but I did customer service, a little bit of tech stuff for Palm Pilots or Palm devices, PDAs, whatever you want to call it, personal. It was kind of proto smartphone, some of them were really cool, like the color one, you could search the internet and shit. It was pretty ahead of its time, it was pretty crazy. So did customer service for that, it was kind of a what is it called, it was a third-party company that did it. I was working for them before they probably outsourced the whole thing. It wasn't for Palm; it was for this other company. So I was an outsourced employee or whatever, whatever you call it. So I was working that for a while, and it was, I was kind of getting back into the call center thing because I'd worked for Walgreens for 4.5 years. And it was kind of, wow, I'm old. Jeez. And I was really sick of retail and stuff, so I was starting to, get back in this call center thing, which I was in for way too long as well, later on, of course. So I was hanging out with my friends. It was probably like August of 2001. And we used to go to Perkins a lot and drink coffee and blab for half the night. The other two guys, did pretty well with the ladies sometimes, but not all the time. I wasn't doing very well. I wasn't doing anything with the ladies at the time. So I was the V word at the time. Anyways. Up until the next year. But anyways, I don't want to go into that. It's a little bit too much information, I guess. But what my point is, we weren't going to Perkins and hitting on girls or anything like that. We just blab about music or whatever, movies or, we just went to Perkins to blab half the night. And then, drink a lot of coffee. The bottomless cup of coffee, as I said, what if it pours out? I used to make jokes like that about the bottomless cup of coffee they used to serve. And, just certain jokes, stupid jokes, French fry jokes, like fries de francais, and I'll take that. It's just stupid jokes like that. Really bad jokes. Probably call them dad jokes now. So there was one night we went to Perkins, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the big event. Sorry, I was laughing. So, and there was an American flag, and it was bent over on itself, and it was really cruddy looking. And I had this really weird sense of dread looking at the flag. And I can't even explain this vibe I felt. It was really strange. And I know this sounds really ludicrous, but I just had this weird, eerie feeling seeing the flag. And I don't know if that's a premonition or what people might interpret it as. But anyways, it was weird, And then a few weeks later, so I used to take the bus to work. It took a fucking hour to get to work. So thankfully I drive now, but I wasn't driving back then. So I was listening to the first Wasp album, and I used to get gut rot because I bought this 8 o'clock coffee, they called it. Because we had it at home sometimes. I wasn't living at home, but I bought it anyways, and it kind of gave me a little bit of a little bit of nausea, But at that day, I was having this coffee gut rot, as I call it, really bad. And listening to the first Wasp album on the bus, and the song, which I was just listening to, "The Torture Never Stops," it was I felt this really weird vibe. this really weird, eerie feeling. It was kind of similar to the one when I saw the flag a few weeks earlier. So I went to work and it was dead. Okay, there were no calls coming in, and I was like, "What the hell?" Well, it's kind of cool, I guess. I read my Michael Moorcock book or whatever was reading at the time. I was reading a lot of Michael Moorcock at that time, a lot of fantasy stuff like that. It's probably still my favorite fantasy author that I've read so far. I haven't read a lot since, like, in the intervening years, a lot of fantasy, but I do want to start doing that. So I was just like, this is kind of strange. So I got a call from someone, about the palms or whatever. And he's like, yeah, a plane just hit the towers. It's crazy. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. And I thought it was like some little biplane, like propeller, like little plane that hit the towers. I'm like in fucking King Kong when the planes, by the Empire State Building, the original King Kong. I thought it was one of those little propeller planes that hit it. I was like, oh, that's kind of wild, okay. And then I'm just laughing because it's so strange. Then I thought that's the first thing I thought in my head. Like one of those old movies. Just hits like one floor and everything's okay. But then, I don't know why I'm laughing about this. It's hilarious. So, then no more calls came in, and then all of a sudden, someone else, I don't know if they announced it, they were like, you're going home, that plane's, we've had a terrorist attack or something, you're going home early. They let everybody out. And I was like, holy shit. I don't know, I think there was one more call where I knew what was going on, and then I was like, oh, America deserved it, because I was reading a lot of Noam Chomsky. I was like, oh, we asked for it, blah, 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 kind of stuff. I was thinking at the time. I was really hardcore into it at the time. Into that, the kind of I hate America stuff, because we're evil imperialists and stuff. And I still have that to some extent, but maybe not as hardcore as I was. As extreme. Sorry to laugh, but it was just kind of extreme. So then I took the bus and I went to this place called Westfield Comics, and I bought a Spawn comic. And I was like, they had it on the TV, and I saw George Bush do a speech, and I was like, oh wow, this is crazy, And I wasn't freaked out quite then, but I was like, I bought the Spawn graphic novel. I think it was like the early stuff, like the first 10 issues or something. I just was like, and I was listening, I don't know if I was listening to Wasp. I was kind of like freaked out about Wasp because the torture never stopped, It kind of gave me a weird vibe. I love it, but that day it was weird. I don't remember what I was listening to on the tape player. Maybe like Halloween or like Kiss or something, or Kansas. So I was listening to Kansas Leftoverture and Kiss's Destroyer, and a lot of Ed Guy at the time and shit like that. So kind of an interesting combination. So, and I took the bus home, and then I went. I think I got some calls from some relatives, including one that lived nearby, and she was freaking out. And I was like, and she was like wondering if there was going to be more attacks. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think they're done for the day. I think they're done for now. Because it had been hours. And I was like, I'd studied a little bit of terrorism, maybe secondhand from Chomsky and stuff. Just like him talking about how they do stuff. And I was like, okay, I think they're done. I don't think there's going to be anything more. Because it had been like 4 or 5 hours by the time I was home. And she was freaking out and thought we were going to have World War III and stuff. Kind of do as a result of it, but if we have any more, it's World War IV, basically, in a certain way, unless you count the Cold War, and it's World War V. But I don't know. So I went to a check cash place because I used to get payday loans, advances, because I wasn't doing very, very well with money. Oh wow, that's nothing. Everything's changed since then. Yeah, right. But so I went to a payday loan. It took like an hour to get the payday loan because they had to do all this crazy stuff because of the terrorism and stuff, and all the planes were grounded. And so I went to her house, and we were watching the news, and some other relatives, I think, came down that next day, but like, it was like really, it was messed up, and I was just sitting with her, and she was freaking out, and I was pretty freaked out too, but I was like, man, this is messed up. I hope things don't go crazy now, with our, whatever is going to happen. So watching the news was interesting because they had all these things about, oh, this is happening, this was reported, and it was like supposedly 10,000 people had died, and like it was only like 3,000 in the towers itself, at least. And like just all this crazy stuff and all these rumors and all these like weird things that I don't think like they were ever followed up on. Like there was supposedly like a car bomb somewhere. I believe that was what it was. Like it was a report of a car bomb, and like I can't remember all of it. If people that have followed the conspiracy stuff probably already know about some of the stuff, like the students, the Israeli art students or whatever, going into some, the New World Order territory with that. But without going too crazy on that, because I don't want YouTube's algorithm is to mess up or me to get censored. But because like 7-Eleven was a part-time job, right? 7-Eleven, Slurpees, don't they have Slurpees there? I'm just trying to like mess with the algorithms, the rhythm method. It's a great way of birth control. Oh no, well, sex is not tolerated on YouTube either. Anyways, I'm trying to like mess with the algorithms, but so 7-Eleven was a part-time job. So, anyways, so we watched it all night, and that's what happened, and it was just weird, and that was kind of like how I felt really weird about stuff. It was more weird when I went to this check cashing places because they were just watching it on TV, and I was kind of I wasn't tuning it out by any means, but I was just like, oh man, that's crazy. This is weird. This is messed up. And I did feel empathy for the people that died. See, the thing is, the next week at work, when we were getting the calls, there was a lot of people that lost their Palm Pilot or Palm device or whatever in the two towers. We had some insurance like thing that we got from the government to like give them free Palms and stuff, and just was weird and hearing about people being lost and stuff in the towers, because a lot of those people were business professionals that called in, and it was weird. And things got really nuts the next few months, and that's pretty much why I left the job, is because they ended the contract with Palm Incorporated. But it was busy all the time. Similar things have happened to other jobs that are on the fritz. When I'm at these call centers, if things get to like where there's like hours waiting for the customer or whatever the fuck, that's when that's when the company's, going to shit for whatever reason, So I remember that pretty clearly. And then I got a job with an insurance company for 8 years after that, because I'm old as fuck. So that was, and I got paid way more for that, so I was pretty happy about that. But that went to shit too. I got fired from there, but it was one of the best days of my life, honestly. I'll probably tell that story sometime. But that was 9/11, and I wasn't exactly cheering it on, but I felt like America had done so much shit in the Middle East over the years, and a lot of other stuff, a lot of other places. It's like, well, it's a wonder this hasn't happened before, So that's kind of what I meant. But I didn't I felt really, it was pretty awful hearing these people call on the phone and say all that stuff. And then I got into like the twofer movement, of course, which is controversial, but I've gotten into that over the years too. And that's kind of what I kind of got into later on, with regards to that. And actually, I was at that place, and I was looking at some of the early pages for that, I believe, like the 9/11 timeline and all that stuff. 911 is a joke in your town, Public Enemy. Anyways, that's about all.